CIG just announced a full economic wipe for Star Citizen Alpha 4.8, and it has immediately become one of the biggest talking points in the community, and understandably so. For many players, wipes are always a controversial subject. Months of grinding contracts, building up ship collections, hoarding rare gear, and stacking millions of Alpha aUEC can disappear overnight. Yet, at the same time, wipes have historically marked major turning points for the game's long-term development, and Star Citizen Alpha 4.8 appears to be one of those moments, so let's see what's staying and what's going in today's video. So, do we lose everything with Star Citizen Alpha 4.8? The answer is no. Clan Imperial Games confirmed that with the arrival of 4.8, players will lose in-game resources, purchased items, vehicles bought with Alpha aUEC, and all earned Alpha aUEC balances. There was, however, no mention of reputation, which I find a little worrisome. I tried calling out CIG community managers on social media, but at the time of recording this video, I have not gotten any replies. And honestly, I think that another update on reputation is primordial. We've got to know if we keep or not reputation, because for years it has slowly become one of the most important progression systems in Star Citizen. Yeah, credits can always be earned back and ships can always be rebought, but reputation represents time invested into specific careers, organizations, or factions, or even gameplay loops, and losing reputation during a wipe would mean that players would once again have to grind through low-tier missions just to regain access to the activities they actually enjoy. By preserving reputation, CIG is allowing veteran players to jump into meaningful content such as the new tactical strike groups or Rock Breaker much faster after the reset. A wipe has, however, been necessary. In fact, I've been calling for one on the channel for months at this time, and the only reason it came with Alpha 4.8 and not 4.7 is because CIG had to find ways to mitigate the effects of item duplications that have plagued the game's economy. Another reason behind the wipe appears directly tied to the massive economic changes arriving in Alpha 4.8. According to CIG, the reset is necessary to stabilize the in-game economy as new economy systems are coming online, notably blueprints for ship components as well as a revamped insurance system. But of course, the most obvious reason for the wipe is to give a clean sweep over the game's economy. Over the past year especially, duplication glitches, unintended money generation methods, cargo exploit, and various economy-breaking loopholes have heavily distorted progression. Some players accumulated massive fortunes through legitimate gameplay, of course, while others benefited from systems that were never functioning as intended or even bought Alpha aUEC on third-party websites. The result is an economy that no longer accurately reflects actual gameplay balance. As far as I'm concerned, I was given billions of credits out of the blue by people who meant well, of course, but in reality, it broke my immersion as I didn't need to play to earn money anymore, and it was sometimes demotivating. However, as mentioned earlier, we are not going to lose everything, and what makes this wipe particularly interesting is what players are actually keeping. Vehicles obtained through Wikelo will remain, so if, like me, you have thousands of script that are sitting in your main inventory, now is the time to spend them. Blueprints will remain as well, so there will be no need to worry about grinding for that too, and of course anything tied directly into the player's account entitlement will remain available. That includes played ships, subscriber items, concierge rewards, purchase paints, and anything visible inside the My Hangar section of your official RSI website. So, this confirms that the wipe is targeting progression earned inside the live economy rather than permanent account ownership. We own that it's never going to happen. We're never going to lose things that have been bought with real money. It's just not something the CIG are going to do. Players are losing temporary economic accumulation, not their foundational account investment. I just wanted to make that clear. And that is going to tell us a little bit about where the game is heading next. Blueprint persistence especially could become enormously important moving forward. CIG would not preserve blueprint ownership unless those systems were becoming increasingly central to progression. Crafting, manufacturing, repair systems, and the resource-based gameplay have all been expanding steadily behind the scenes, and Alpha 4.8 may be the first patch where those mechanics begin truly connecting together into a larger economy. In fact, there have been a lot of people out there, including my friend Danny from Race Guide, who have been saying that crafting and reputation are becoming way more valuable than money itself. The timing also aligns with many of the larger gameplay directions the CIG have been discussing recently. The developers have repeatedly talked about improving ship management, resource control, physicalized systems, engineering gameplay, logistics, and long-term persistence. An economy reset before those systems fully arrive makes logical sense. Otherwise, players entering these new loops with billions of exploited credits and warehouses filled with duplicated gear could completely undermine balancing before the system even has a chance to mature. Now, of course, not everyone is happy. For newer players especially, wipes can feel discouraging. Spending weeks building towards a dream ship only to lose it shortly afterwards can absolutely hurt motivation. I understand that. There is also concern that frequent wipes make progression feel temporarily or meaningless, but at the same time, many long-time Star Citizen players understand that the alpha development fundamentally requires periodic resets. The game is still evolving at a systemic level, and entire gameplay loops, economic structures, and backend technologies are actively changing. Maintaining permanent persistence while rebuilding the foundations underneath the game would likely create even larger technical problems. And unlike earlier wipes, this one arrives at a time when Star Citizen has significantly more content than before. Players have access to a much larger variety of missions, career, vehicles, locations, and progression paths than they did during previous major resets. Recovering financially after the wipe will likely happen far faster than many players expect, especially since reputation progression has not been mentioned by CIG, so it might actually remain intact. On the other hand, there are also some players who actually enjoy the early post-wipe environment more than the inflated late-stage economy that we currently have, and as far as I'm concerned, I know that I will. Fresh economies tend to revitalize multiplayer games. Cargo hauling becomes meaningful again, entry-level missions regain relevance, salvage, mining, mercenary work, and bounty hunting all become active profit generators once more. Ship progression regains purpose, even smaller ships suddenly become valuable again instead of being instantly skipped. There's also the social side of wipes that many players forget. Post-wipe periods often create some of the most active and cooperative moments in Star Citizen. Organizations regroup, friends start rebuilding together, players share resources, multi-crew happens more frequently, and I know that the Iraq Club, we're definitely going to be seeing some people that we haven't seen in a long time who are going to be playing with us once more. Of course, all of that depends on how stable Alpha 4.8 is going to be. Hopefully, CIG developers will have fixed some of those 30k errors that have plagued Star Citizen Alpha 4.8. If the patches arrive with strong performance improvements, reduced duplication exploits, and stable progression systems, I think that many players are going to end up accepting the wipe relatively quickly. But if major bugs continue heavily impacting earning potentials or persistent reliability, then obviously frustration could grow considerably faster this time around. Anyway, that's all there is to say about this upcoming wipe. It's not really a surprise, the game is still in alpha and will remain for a while, so these events are bound to happen and be expected. But let me know in the comment section down below what you think about the wipe. Don't forget that we have our giveaway as well, the link will be in the description. Shout out to my Patreon and YouTube members for their support, including Dr. Frobin, Socrates, The Key to the Crush, and Zero Crusher. I've been the Eradicator, and I'll see you guys in the next one.